يقول راجي عفو رب سامعي محمد بن الجزري الشافعي: الحمد لله وصلى الله على نبيه ومصطفاه محمد وآله وصحبه ومقرئ القرآن مع محبه. وبعد إن هذه مقدمة فيما على قارئه أن يعلمه، إذ واجب عليهم محتم قبل الشروع أولا أن يعلموا مخارج الحروف والصفات ليلفظوا بأفصاح اللغات، محرر التجويد والمواقف وما الذي رسم في المصاحف.
أفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما وعملا متقبلا يا أرحم الراحمين. So, second class of Aljazariyya by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's blessings. We will review the slides of the last class. We will not review everything. We'll just go over the slides just to have an idea how the slides were made. And I shared the slides with all of you, so whoever is assigned to do this class, you have to continue on that same file. You should not start like a new file. Okay? So we had an introduction about tajweed, right? And we said tajweed used to be practiced by the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, of course, because this is how they learned it from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And of course later on when the need appeared to put it as rules and to teach it as rules, separate rules, then the scholars did that, may Allah reward them, so that they preserve the letters of the Quran. That was the main introduction. So let's look here at the slides that were made. How do you make it big from here?
Should there be H and right?
Huh?
Is it
Yeah, we can add it. How?
Yeah, the press present.
From here, right?
It's like
It's
the
the top
one.
left, right there. Top
Yeah.
View.
Top.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So this is the first slide. Okay, Aljazariyya is the main poem in Tajweed, particularly according to Hafs narration. Why I said this? Particularly according to Hafs narration. Why? Because the Tajweed rules in general, they are the same in all of the 10 qira'at. But there are some rules that are special or restricted to some qurra. For example, the rules of Ra in Aljazariyya, it applies to all of the qurra, the 10 qurra, except for Warsh, he has his special madhab in the ra'at. Okay? But idgham, ikhfa, idhar, qalb, makharij and sifat, that's for all qurra the same. You understand? And this is why we said particularly according to Hafs narration. But it contains the rules that all of the qurra apply. But there are some rules that are special or restricted to some qurra, and that is studied in the science of qira'at, like studying Shatibiyya or studying Tayyibatul Nashr. Al-Jazariyya, we said it is 107 verses. Manzumat al-Muqaddimah is the name of the poem. It encompasses the main rules of Tajweed. Okay. Tajweed, to recite Quran like how it was revealed to the Prophet ﷺ, recited in the correct way. At the time of the Prophet ﷺ, everyone used to recite with what is known, with what is now known as Tajweed, as Islam spread. Okay, we mentioned this. Manzuma, we mentioned this. Quick Arabic notes. Okay, so we covered Al-Basmala only, right? We covered Al-Basmala. Okay, and we mentioned the hadith that Imam Nawawi narrated. Of course, in the hadith science, when we mention a hadith, we don't say this was narrated by Imam Nawawi, because he doesn't have a specific book of hadith, okay? But here, how can I edit? I have to go back, right? But here, because Imam Nawawi, radiallahu anhu, he authenticated, okay? Authenticated this hadith, so let's say authenticated. But you can say Imam Nawawi mentioned it, okay, in his book of Al-Adhkar or whatever, that's fine. That's correct, okay? And Imam An-Nawawi, not An-Nabawi. Imam An-Nawawi. Okay, this is good. The slide is good so that you...
The next line, I think to say you should, therefore you should initiate your affairs, not stop. Right.
Okay. Initiate
Your affairs, for example.
by the name of Allah. Okay.
Conduct your affairs.
Okay. There's more improvement it can be done, so this is why I shared it with everyone so that you can improve it. Okay. It will save automatically, right? Okay, so of course that was not everything we covered, but the main things. Now we will move to the first line, inshallah, right away. And I mentioned the main reliance is on the explanation of Sheikh Ayman Suwaid, who based his explanation on Sharh of Sheikh al-Islam Zakaria al-Ansari radiyallahu anhu wa rahimahullah.
Don't we already have slides for Al-Jazariyya itself?
Not all of them. Yeah. So I will be trying to join them together and make the final one, inshallah, and adopt this one. Just like this file, the word file is the same one we adopted last time, but now I'm adding editing, okay? Same thing we're gonna do to the slides, okay? But for the slides, I don't think we did it from the beginning, but we can do something. We can see if this section, if a certain section is already made in the slides in the previous one, we can make the assignment just to modify it and to edit it and to add to it if we added something in the new course. Mash, Al-Jazariyya 2. The first verse, so we said Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. He started with Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. What does he say next? What's the first verse? يقول راجي عفو ربي سامعي محمد بن الجزري الشافعي. يقول راجي عفو رب سامعي محمد بن الجزري الشافعي. And I advise you to watch or to listen to Sheikh Ayman Suwaid so that you memorize Al-Jazariyya right. Okay? I recorded just some of it in the all Tajweed, all Jazariyya classes. You can watch it, but just the first section. If you listen to Sheikh Ayman Suwaid, it's the best choice so that you make sure you're memorizing it right. So don't memorize it just from any source or any video, okay? Memorize it from the audio of Sheikh Ayman Suwaid. And every class we're doing it, so if you memorize every class, whatever we cover, that will be great. يقول راجي عفو رب سامعي محمد بن الجزري الشافعي. يقول means what?
It is said.
يقول means says, he says. Who says? Raji, right? Raji. So in Arabic, as we mentioned before, we have the verb first, then the subject, right? The verb, then the subject. We have the verb first, then the subject. In English, we say Ahmad says this. Ahmad says this. In Arabic, we say opposite. We start with the verb. We say يقول أحمد, right? يقول أحمد, okay? يقول راجي. Raji, the one who's hoping for something, okay? From raja, yarju. فمن كان يرجو لقاء ربه, right? Whoever hopes to meet his Lord or to get the reward from his Lord. So Raji means what? the one who's hoping for something. Okay? Raji, he's hoping for what? Afwi. Afu what? Allahumma innaka afuun
Forgiveness.
tuhibbul afwa. Forgiveness, right? So, the one who's hoping for the forgiveness of what? Afwi Rabbin. Afwi Rabbin. What is this structure? Afwi Rabbin.
The forgiveness from Allah, from His Rabb.
From the Rabb. What is this structure in Arabic, ya Shaykh? We studied it before. Idafa. Position. The forgiveness of the Lord. The forgiveness of Afwi Rabbin. Mudaf and mudaf ilayh. Right? Mudaf and mudaf ilayh. Okay. Afwi Rabbin. Baytullahi, the house of Allah. The forgiveness of the Lord. The messenger of Allah. And this is very important for you guys in your hafl. You should never make a mistake in the idafa structure. So you should never, for example, say, as some of you do, they say خلق السماوات والأرض, for example. خلق السماوات والأرض. خلق السماوات, the creation of the heavens. The creation of the heavens. مضاف and مضاف إليه. The creation, this is مضاف. خلق مضاف. السماوات مضاف إليه. So the مضاف إليه always مجرور, must always be مجرور. And الأرض is معطوف. It is added to السماوات and it has to be similar to it. So if this noun is مجرور, the one which is conjuncted with it, which is connected with it with a conjunction, it must be also مجرور. If it is mansoob, then it has to be mansoob. Marfu' has to be marfu'. Okay, this is a good question. But before I answer you, خلق السماوات, خلق السماوات والأرض. So خلق السماوات, Rasulullah, it can never be Rasulullah, Rasulullahu, never. You understand? Baytullahi, Qiblatullahi. Is this clear? Afwi Rabbin. Now, so always in the Quran, Huffaz, always it must be خلق السماوات والأرض. La خلق السماوات والأرض. Now, if we say خلق, خلق means this is إضافة. خلق السماوات, is this إضافة structure? Of course not. This is a verbal sentence. خلق means what he created. خلق السماوات. السماوات is what? He created the heavens. The heavens is what in this sentence? Object. It doesn't need thinking, right? We covered this. Object. Where is the subject? خلق is the verb.
He is doing.
He. This is implied, we say. Implied. خلق السماوات means هو خلق السماوات. Right? So the subject is implied. And who is he in this ayah, in this sentence, or in this ayah? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Clear? Now, before I come to samawati, why it's samawati? To give you another example of the subject, how it's implied. When I say thank you, where is the subject?
I.
The subject is implied. And what is it? I. It means I thank you. Thank is the verb. You is what? Object. So as we have in English, the subject is implied also in Arabic. Now, khalaqa, verb. Samawati is what? Object. Now, samawati, what is this noun? This is a noun, right? Is it singular or plural? Plural. Is it masculine plural or feminine plural?
Feminine.
This is called sound feminine plural. Jama' mu'annath salim. Okay? Jama' mu'annath salim. Jama' mu'annath salim is mansoob and majroor with kasra. It cannot take fatha. So have you ever in your whole life heard samawata? Never. Why? Even though it's mansub, because jama' mu'annath salim, it will be majroor and mansub both by kasra.
But I was talking about not samawat, I was talking about al-ard.
Exactly, wal arda. So do we say samawati wal arda or samawati wal ardi? So now, as-samawati in its position, is it mansub or majroor in this sentence? خلق السماوات mansub or majroor?
Mansub.
In its position, mansub, not majroor,
Yeah.
because we said it's object,
Objects.
right? So don't be deceived by the kasra. So this is object means mansub. Okay, what's the sign of its nasb? It is kasra. Why kasra? Because it's jama' mu'annath salim. So samawati wal
Ardi.
al-ard should be mansub or majroor?
Majroor.
Al-ard
The ard should be mansub.
mansub. Why? Because they are connected with a conjunction. Every two nouns that are connected with a conjunction, they have to be similar in their i'rab status. Means if this the first one mansub, second must be mansub. Majroor, majroor. Marfu', marfu'. So samawati is what? Mansub. So al-ardi is what? Must be mansub. Now al-ard singular. What's the sign of the nasb of the singular noun? Fatha. So we say خلق السماوات والأرض. So it will never ever be in Arabic language and in the Quran to find خلق السماوات والأرض or خلق السماوات والأرض والأرض. You understand? في السماوات والأرض. في, this is majroor.
So does the fi make the ard of kasra?
Exactly, because samawati in this sentence is majroor, not mansub. Because it's ism majroor. Fi samawati, prepositional phrase. Right?
If the fi wasn't there, would the ard be fatha?
If what?
If the fi wasn't there, ما خلق الله السماوات والأرض.
Exactly. Right? So, خلق السماوات والأرض. خلق السماوات
Arda.
والأرض. Is this clear?
I have a question. As you said, the muzaf, muzaf ilayhi is always in majroor, right? So, what's the condition for muzaf?
Not necessarily.
It can
But
be.
رب السماوات. رب here عفو رب. So مضاف, we don't say in Arab that this is mudaf. We make Arab for it according to its position in the sentence. Okay? For example, here, Raji Afwi. Raji Afwi. Here, Afwi also it's mudaf ilayh. It is also mudaf ilayh. The one who's hoping of or for the forgiveness. So the mudaf could be marfu', could be mansub, could be majroor, it doesn't matter. Okay? For example, نبذ الذين أوتوا الكتاب نبذ الذين أوتوا الكتاب كتاب الله وراء ظهورهم. Right? Huh? كتاب الله. See? كتاب مضاف or not? كتاب مضاف. كتاب الله, the book of Allah. But what is the i'rab here of the word kitaba?
Fatha.
It has fatha, but what is the i'rab? نبذ الذين أوتوا الكتاب. Those who were given the book, they left or they threw the book of Allah. So the word book is what?
Muzaf.
Huh? They,
Object.
exactly, object. They threw what? They threw the book. So this is why we say the word kitaba is maf'ul bihi, object, maf'ul bihi mansub. Now the word Allah here is mudaf ilayh. Clear? So mudaf could be marfu', mansub, majroor. Mudaf ilayh must be majroor. So خلق السماوات, what are the other options for this phrase? خلق السماوات والأرض. Now خلق. So خلق السماوات والأرض. Now
Also al-bu.
wait, where ardu?
I know there is. I just can't.
What? خلق السماوات والأرض with the samawati.
I know samawati. But
No, الأرض of course الأرض, there's الأرض, but with the samawati impossible. Okay? خلق السماوات وال. If you, for example, you can say وخلق الله السماوات, for example. Then this sentence is over. Then you can say والأرض, for example, والأرض أيضا من خلقه, for example. Then this is a separate sentence. This waw is not conjunction here. But in this phrase خلق السماوات والأرض, it must be either خلق السماوات والأرض or خلق السماوات والأرض. Okay? Is there any a third option for خلق in the ones that are mentioned in the Quran? خلق السماوات والأرض إن في خلقي, إن في خلقي, also خلق السماوات والأرض, لخلق السماوات والأرض, لخلق السماوات والأرض, خلق السماوات والأرض, خلق السماوات والأرض.
خل أو لا خل.
Same thing, لخلق السماوات والأرض أكبر من خلق الناس. But that's لخلق السماوات, not والأرض. Impossible. This is إضافة, structure. Okay, ماشي. So عفو رب, the forgiveness of a Lord. A Lord. رب. Rab means what?
Lord, Master.
Means what? Lord means what?
Allah.
Means owner. One meaning owner. Malik, owner. Rab, usually owner in the basic form. So we say this is Rabbul Bayt, means he's the owner of the house. Rabbul Kaaba, the owner of the Kaaba, the protector. So this is basic meaning. Rab. Also Rab means master. Also the one who's Murabbi, means he's the one who's raising you up. This is why we call our sheikhs in Sham, in Syria, and in many parts of the world, they call the sheikh, they call him Murabbi. So we say this is our Murabbi. Why? Because he's raising up. He's raising us up. How? Spiritually. Spiritually, he's raising us up. He is helping us to grow spiritually in a sound spiritual condition, to take care of our soul, to take care of our heart. So he's raising us up, just like our parents, they raise our bodies up, right? They feed us, they understand? So that is Murabbi. From where? From Rabba. Rabba. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Rabb. He is the one who's raising everything up and sustaining everything up and maintaining everything up. Because this is what tarbiyah is, upbringing, right? Upbringing, right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so this is why the word Rabb doesn't have equivalent in English. So when you translate it, you can say, when you say Lord, of course this is not enough, but this is the closest word that maybe it includes most of the meaning. So Rabb means what? Owner, master, cherisher, fosterer, sustainer, maintainer. So Al-Murabbi, the one who takes care of something until it reaches its maturity, whether in the body or in the soul. Got it? That's tarbiyah. That is tarbiyah. Okay. That's Rabb. Afwi Rabbin. Sami'i. Well, shouldn't it be Rabbin Sami'in? We say Ghafurin Rahimi or Ghafurin Rahimin. So here you see Rabbin Sami'i, right? Shouldn't be Sami'in, it should be Sami'in. But just to he made it Sami'i to keep the rhyme of the poem. Okay? And that is permissible for the poets to do, to keep the rhyme of the poem. And we will mention examples later on, inshallah, more about this. Here, particularly not, if he said sami'in, it will not break the verse, okay? It will not break the verse if he says sami'in. But for the sound, it should be sami', for just the sound.
Yeah.
But for the verse, for the metrical form, as we mentioned before, because sami'i, what's the last letter? When you say sami'i,
Yeah.
ya what? Sakina.
Yes, sir.
And when you say sami'in, what's the last letter?
Noon.
Which is what?
Sakin.
Also sakina. So, since last letters in both cases both are sukoon, that doesn't break the rhyme. Understand? Doesn't break the rhyme. But for the sound, okay? So let's say not for the wazn. We can say لموافقة الروي. لموافقة الروي means so that the last letter will sound similar. Is it clear? But we will find in some cases where we have fatha. Who can remind you of an example? We have fatha at the end, then he released the fatha and he makes it with alif. So he adds a letter. Because if he keeps it, then it will break the wazn. Like what? When fataha, what's the line he says? When fataha, wawun wa ya'un sukkin, wallinu wawun wa ya'un sukkina wan fataha qablahuma. Right? وَوٌ وَيَاءٌ سُكِّنَ وَانْفَتَحَ قَبْلَهُمَا وَالْإِنْحِرَافُ صُحِّحَ فِي اللَّامِ وَالرَّا وَبِتَكْرِيرٍ جُعِلَ. So, وَانْفَتَحَ, in that line he says انفتح, which is, but is originally انفتح, it's just fatha. But he made itlaq, he released the fatha, he made it fatah, انفتح, he added alif. So that, if he kept it انفتح, it would have broken the wazn. It would have broken the rhyme. But here, it doesn't break the rhyme. Yet, he said sami'i. Why? To keep the same ending sound. This is to make it literal for you. To keep the same ending sound. Why? Why you want to keep the same ending sound? Because this is how poetry is. يقول راجي عفو رب سامعي محمد بن الجزري الشافعي. If you say يقول راجي عفو رب سامع محمد بن الجزري الشافعي, well, that's not poetry. Okay? This is a flaw in poetry. This is a flaw, right? A defect in poetry. Yal, سامع. سامع means what?
Listener.
That's the literal meaning. But when we say, which is correct, listener. But when we say after ruku' and we raise up from ruku', what do we say?
Sami Allah.
We say Sami Allahu liman hamida, right, sister? We say Sami Allahu liman hamida. Sami Allahu liman hamida means what? Means Allah
Listen.
will answer the one who praises him or praise for him. So in this context, Sami means the one who responds to, right? And the proof is when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says in the hadith, "O Allah, I seek refuge with you." He says, "O Allah," he says, "O Allah, I seek refuge with you from the Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min du'a'in la yusma." Oh Allah, I seek refuge with you from a du'a that is not heard or that is not answered. Huh? A du'a that is not heard or that is not answered.
Answered.
That is not answered.
Answered.
Literally, it means that is not heard. But is there a du'a that Allah doesn't hear?
No.
Allah hears everything. So it means what? A du'a that is not answered. And I want you to write this amazing hadith, which is very important, narrated by Imam Ahmad and others. Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-arba' min ilmin la yanfa' wa min qalbin la yakhsha' wa min nafsin la tashba' wa min du'a'in la yusma'. In another narration, أعوذ بك من هؤلاء الأربع. Oh Allah, I seek refuge with you from these four, or from the four. Knowledge that doesn't benefit me. A heart that doesn't have khushu'. A self that doesn't get satisfied. A self that doesn't get satisfied means always it desires and lusts for more of the desires. It's not getting full. It's not getting that satisfaction. It's always running after shahawat and desires. So we seek refuge with Allah from such a self. وَمِن دُعَاءٍ لَا يُسْمَعَ. And from a dua that is not answered. Also, if we say that is not heard, it could mean also that is not answered.
Yeah.
Right? Even in English, it could mean that is not answered.
But
Okay.
I read this dua as min du'a la yustajabu laha.
Many narrations. There is more than, and there is وَمِن دَعْوَةٍ لَا يُسْتَجَابُ لَهَا. And there is عَيْنٍ لَا تَدْمَعْ. I'm not sure if it's mentioned in the hadith, but it is nice to make this dua also, but we need to check. That shed tear. Okay? Okay. Are you here?
Yeah.
Okay. So, also we have Ismail, the word Ismail, which is the name of Sayyidina Ismail, the great prophet that we love. It is originally Ismail, which means the response of Allah. Because he prayed to Allah, so Allah responded. Sayyidina Ibrahim prayed to Allah so that he grants him a son, so Allah responded to him, gave him Ismail, so he named Ismail what? Ismail, the response of Allah, because Allah responded to him, right? So that's also another example that Sami'a means here, in this context, what? It means responded. Okay, any questions so far? So now how does this first part of the line mean? So of course Allah hears your dua, but does He respond to your dua? It depends. If you fulfill the conditions of dua, He will definitely respond to you. Why? Because He promised, وَقَالَ رَبُّكُمُ ادْعُونِي أَسْتَجِبْ لَكُمْ. Pray for me, I will respond to you. He promised. And Allah does not break His promise, subhanahu wa ta'ala. But you have to fulfill the conditions of dua. If you fulfill the conditions of dua, then Allah will respond to you. Now, how does He respond to you? That's another topic. There are 4 ways of responding to your dua. How many? 4 ways. How many? 4 ways of responding to your dua. If you want to know them, you can watch. Where did we talk about this? Surah Al-Kahf. If you watch tafsir of Surah Al-Kahf in my channel, one class we explain that in details. There's a hadith about that, we explained it in details. Yalla. So,
I think I know these 4 things.
yeah, if we want to speak more, then we will not finish anything today. So review that. But if you have a question about something we mentioned, you ask.
I was asking you, doesn't Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala love when you make dua? Would He love to answer everyone?
Of course, Allah loves that you make dua and loves that you insist in your dua. Because dua is ibadah. Dua is the main act or a main act of worship to show your submission and humiliation and need to Allah. Iyyaka na'bud, right? So now how do we translate the first part of this verse? يقول راجي عفو رب سامع. Yalla, who can phrase it in English? So now we can write it here after we're done with this first part. Yalla.
The one who is hopeful
The one who's hopeful.
of the forgiveness, pardon of a Islamic Lord.
Exactly. Yalla, let's write it down, huh?
Quote,
The one,
quote Shekhamu.
the one who's what? The one who is hoping for or hopeful for.
It's hopeful.
Huh?
This is what you said. I wrote that.
No. I want to now English. I translate now. You should tell me English wise.
Hoping for the forgiveness of Allah.
The one who is hoping for or hopeful for or hopeful of.
Is it?
The
Yeah.
one that hopes the
Yalla ya akhi, we're recording.
Who is hopeful, I guess.
Huh? Hopeful for or hopeful of?
What's he say?
Who is hoping for? I think it's hard.
It's for. He's
Ah.
hoping for.
Hoping for.
Hoping
But
for.
hopeful
He's
Ah.
hopeful
of, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the one who's
But it depends. What is that?
Hopeful.
The Arabic. Is it a gerund in Arabic or is it what is it?
raji, it is adjective. Hopeful. The one who is hopeful for,
Yeah.
the one who's hopeful for, of we said, right? Hopeful of, raji, afwi rabbin, the forgiveness
Yeah. That's it.
of a
You're not
responding
Oh, okay.
Lord says.
The
Yeah. Now, next part. يلا يقول راجي عفو رب سامع محمد بن الجزري الشافعي. Muhammad means what? Sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad. The word Muhammad means what?
Muhammad,
the
one who praises a lot.
Praised.
The one who praises a lot or the one who's praised a lot?
Praiseworthy.
So Muhammad means the praised worthy or the praised one, to be literal. What are you looking at your old notes?
Praiseworthy came up. I didn't see it. But that
Yeah,
I saw
no,
here.
I'm just asking. You have your old notes?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm
And
just
this right here is the praised one. Yeah.
the praised one,
Yeah.
literally. Okay, Muhammad is the praised one, and we know that the pagans, they used to say, مذمما عصينا ودينه قلينا. They used to say, we have disobeyed مذمم. They switched the word Muhammad into mudhamma, which means the dispraised one. So they used to call the Prophet ﷺ names, saying, they made poetry, they say mudhammaman asayna wa deenahu qalayna. We have disobeyed mudhammam and we will reject his religion, etc. Then Rasulullah ﷺ, what did he say to his Sahaba when they said, look what they're saying? What did he say? He said, look, subhanallah, how Allah pushed their criticism and their insult away from me. They're insulting Mudhammam, but I am Muhammad. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. You see? So, and same thing I said to those, to the ignorant people in this century who dispraises him, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. We say they're talking about Muhammad. But our Prophet is not Muhammad, right? They will not know how to say it. So we don't care. Anyway, but we do care in another field. We do care when we see insults and we know they're talking about him. But we should respond in a rational way and in the way that he taught us. We don't go and break and kill and no. We can make peaceful protest, we can boycott, we can use all peaceful means because this is what he taught us, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Muhammad ibn, so his name is Muhammad. Muhammad ibn al-Jazariyya al-Shafi'i. Can you see? Muhammad ibn al-Jazariyya al-Shafi'i. Muhammad, we understood. That's the name of this Imam. The author of Aljazariyya, his name is what? Muhammad. Ibn al-Jazari. Muhammad ibn al-Jazari. Ibn al-Jazari, son of al-Jazari. Ibn means what? Son. Son of al-Jazari. Why they called him son of al-Jazari? Why? Because his parents and grandparents are from Jazira. From Jazira. So since they're from Jazira, so he is Jazari. If he's from Syria, we say he is
Syria.
Suri in Arabic.
Yes.
If he's from Sham, we say he is Shami. So he's from Jazira. His parents are from Jazira. So he is son of Jazari. Got it? That's called Ya'un Nisba. That's called Ya of the Nisba. Now, what is this Jazira? What does Jazira mean? It means peninsula. Coming. Jazira means what? Peninsula. Or island. Jazira means, I'm going step by step. Jazira means what? Island or peninsula. Peninsula, literally in English, it is in Arabic called Shibh Jazira, which is peninsula in Arabic. It's surrounded by sea from three directions, right or no? Peninsula. But the island is surrounded by all directions, right? This is a peninsula, not an island. Okay, why? Because it's surrounded by Dijla or Tigris river in Turkey, Syria, Iraq borders. At the borders of these three countries together, we have Tigris and Euphrates. You heard about it? Furat and Dijla. Okay? Now Furat and Dijla. Dijla or Tigris, this small peninsula is on Tigris river. Okay? And it's called Jizr. Jizr. In Turkey, they say Jizr. Okay? But what is the full name of this peninsula? It's called Jazirat ibn Umar. Jazira of the son of Umar. Who is Umar and who is the son of Umar? I don't know. But the Jazira of son of Umar. Or they call it Jazirat Bhutan. What do they call it? Jazirat Bhutan. And we have very, very, very famous Muslim scholars who are Kurdish scholars, who are Kurds. They have this last name, which is Al-Bhuti. Okay, in Syria we have very, very famous scholar, and he's a renowned, worldly renowned scholar, right? Sheikh Al-Bhuti. May Allah have mercy on him. And his father, Mullah Ramadan Al-Bhuti also. So, they are from that same Jazira. Okay? I'm going to show you now in the map where that Jazira is. But before we go there, so Ibn al-Jazari, son of al-Jazari, okay, son of al-Jazari, this means this title al-Jazari was given to his parents, right or no? Because he's son of al-Jazari, right, Ya Shaykh? He's son of al-Jazari. Who's al-Jazari? This means al-Jazari is his father. Why they called his father Jazari? Because if he's from Jazira, right? Suppose his father is Syrian, so we would have said Muhammad ibn
Suri.
As-Suri. We say son of the Suri, right? Son of the Suri. So he is son of Al-Jazari, son of the one who's from Jazira. Which Jazira? Jazira ibn Umar or Bhutan. Now in nowadays Turkey, Bhutan, no, they call it Jizr, okay? In nowadays Turkey, or Jazira ibn Umar. Now, in Arabic, Ash-Shafi'i, we'll come back to his life, but before we start his life, Ash-Shafi'i. Shafi'i means what? He's Shafi'i in his madhab. Is that clear? So he's Ash-Shafi'i. Is that his family name? No, that's his madhab name. That's his madhab name. What madhab? What madhab?
Shafi'i.
What does madhab mean? I mean, madhab in what? In fiqh. In fiqh. Why in fiqh? Do we have madhab in things other than fiqh? Of course. Of course. Okay, so before we go to Shafi'i, just to give you an idea about the i'rab of Muhammadu. So يقول راجع في رب سامعي Muhammadu. What's the i'rab of the word Muhammadu? We mentioned it, if you remember before, we said this is an appositive. What is it? A positive. The appositive is a noun or a phrase, or a noun phrase that you can delete and still you will have the full meaning. So it is related to another noun, it just substitutes the other noun. So if we said يقول راجي عفو رب سامعي الحمد لله وصلى الله, does that make sense? Of course, the one who is hopeful of the mercy of his Lord, of the forgiveness of our responding Lord says Alhamdulillah, etc. So when we said Muhammad ibn al-Jazari, we just added more information about that person, right? So that's called badal in Arabic. In English, a positive. Badal, substitute, literally means. So the word Muhammad is substitute for what? For the word raji. This is why it's marfu'. Okay. So, and this relationship is called opposition. Al-Shafi'i, as we mentioned, means his madhab is Shafi'i. Madhab means a school of thought. Madhab means what? Madhab means what?
School of thought.
School of thought. Here, we are talking about particularly the fiqh madhab. Okay. Focus with me, please. Why we have schools of thought in the Islamic jurisprudence? Why we have schools of thought? Why?
We can't create.
Why you have many schools of thought?
We can't create our own rulings. We have to follow somebody who's qualified.
Why do we have to have someone who's qualified? Why we don't take from the Quran and Sunnah right away?
Because you can't just take Quran Sunnah. You have to know like, the different sciences.
Well, so I should have asked this way: why we have more than one school of thought? This is the
Because
question.
there's diversity in Islam. There's different.
Why?
Different proofs for
You
different
did not.
scenarios.
You did not give the answer. Why do we have diversity?
Why?
Why do we have different schools?
To make Islam a.
No, why do we have?
diverse
That's the fruit. But why do we have it in the first place?
Why?
Why the scholars differed? Every scholar has different opinion about certain rulings.
That's what makes life interesting.
That's the fruit. That is the fruit of diversity. I'm asking you about the reason of diversity, not the fruit.
Because there has diversity.
Because
if there isn't,
because I think most different people have got different information from their sources. Like
No, they have the same sources.
where they interpret different ways.
You're coming close, but still you did not give the answer. Because the Quran and the Sunnah, they have texts which are not decisively clear, which can accept more than one interpretation. Is this clear?
yes,
Some, not all. This is why they did not disagree in everything. Do we have a school of thought or two opinions in everything?
no,
Never. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is one, they're not three. One, not made of parts and doesn't have partners. One. Is there opinions about this? No. If someone comes and say, no, he has parts, but all of those parts constitute one, then we say you're deviant, you're not in the fold of Islam. It's clear? Because Allah says ahad, clear. No two opinions about being ahad and being one and only one, and not having partners and not being made of parts. If someone says no, he has parts, but all of those parts constitute one, then we say okay, and the Christians could be right in this case because they say three in one, right? So there are texts in the Quran and the Sunnah that can have or can accept more than one interpretation. Who wanted this? Allah. Could not Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring a text that cannot have more than one interpretation? Of course. So He could have made the whole Quran and Sunnah just like those texts that are decisively clear. But He didn't. Why? Now we say because Allah wants to make it easy. Allah wants to, etc. etc. Understand? Okay. And this is why we have different schools of thought in Islam. In fiqh, and in Aqeeda, and in the spiritual purification or Tasawwuf. Understand? So this is why not only in jurisprudence but also in Aqeeda we have differences. Even among the Sahaba themselves, Sayyidah Aisha says, the one who says that Muhammad saw his Lord, he's not saying the truth. And Sayyidina Ibn Abbas says, no, he saw his Lord. So this is Aqeeda, not fiqh, not how to make wudu, not how to, this is Aqeeda. Anyway, in Islam we have differences even in Aqeeda, even in fiqh, even in the spiritual path or spiritual purification. In these three fields we have, in some issues we have multiple opinions that can all be valid and that can all be acceptable. Clear? Now, who is qualified to take those rulings from Quran and Sunnah? Are those scholars who reached a level of ijtihad. They reach a level of ijtihad, which is the qualification to take or deduce the rulings from Quran and Sunnah. Who are the most famous mujtahidun or mujtahideen, whose schools were preserved and whose opinions were recorded, are the four Sunni Imams. Imam al-Shafi'i, Imam Abu Hanifa, and Imam al-Shafi'i, and Imam Malik, and Imam Ahmad radiyallahu anhum ajma'in. May Allah be pleased with all of them. Okay? Those are the four main Imams. Were there other Imams? Yes, of course. In every school there are many Imams. Were those ones also mujtahideen? Yes. But those were the leaders of those schools. Okay? The leaders and the main Imams of those schools.
So, I have a question.
So Imam Ibn al-Jazari, what's his school of thought?
Al-Shafi'i.
Subhanallah, even though he's the main Shaykh of Quran, still he follows Imam Shafi'i in his rituals, in his fiqh, right? In his fiqh. And now we have someone who doesn't know how to clean himself. He wants to be like Imam Shafi'i and take from Quran and Sunnah right away. See the disaster. Imam Ibn al-Jazari, he's saying, I am Shafi'i. But some people now, they think they take from the Quran and Sunnah right away, but they're taking from their own minds or from their sheikhs, right? So, every Muslim, either you have to be in the level of those Imams, means you have the level of ijtihad, or you have to follow one of them. Okay?
I have a question.
So, Imam Muhammad ibn al-Jazariyyi al-Shafi'i, and that is the norm of the scholars in the past. For example, they say Imam ibn Hajar al-Asqalani al-Shafi'i, Imam al-Qurtubi al-Maliki, Imam ibn Rajab, who heard al-Hanbali. Did you hear that? Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali, Ibn al-Jawzi al-Hanbali. Not Ibn al-Jawziyya, not Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyya, two different scholars. Imam Ibn al-Arabi al-Maliki, Imam al-Ramli al-Shafi'i. These are the titles of those Imams. Whenever you look about their lives, they tell you so and so al-Shafi'i. That is in fiqh. Before we continue, please have water if you need. There's cold water there. What's your question?
There were some also Imams in their era, like they don't have their school of thought. They don't follow any one of the four. So these are the four school of thought. So there are also others. So can anyone follow any one of the other, like the Imam Ibn Taymiyyah and Imam Ibn Qayyim al-Jawzi?
Imam Ibn Taymiyyah and Ibn al-Qayyim, they're part of the Hanbali school. They are part of the Hanbali school. Barakallahu fi. And Imam Ibn Taymiyyah, they mention him in the Hanbali school books. They say Shaykh Taqiyuddin.
Shaykh al-Islam.
No, they never say Shaykh al-Islam. They say Shaykh Taqiyuddin. His name is Taqiyuddin ibn Ahmad ibn Taymiyyah al-Harrani. So they say Taqiyuddin, Shaykh Taqiyuddin. They made him Shaykh al-Islam just recently with the petrodollar school. With,
What school?
the petrodollar school.
Petrodollar?
Yeah.
What's that? Petrodollar?
So this title spread that he's Shaykh al-Islam and he's the sole Shaykh and he's the almost infallible Shaykh. This came just in the last 100 years when the Saudi state spread his ideas by the oil money. Okay? And free books, free scholarships, free universities, free, etc. And people go to Hajj and they give them loads of free books, free brochures, cassettes, CDs, whatever. Anyway, he's a Muslim scholar, but he did not stick to the Hanbali school. He has his own school and he disagreed with the Muslim scholars in at least 40 issues, some of them main Aqeeda issues. Okay? So, you can follow whomever you want, you are responsible. But why will I follow someone who disagreed with the Muslim scholars in at least 40 main issues, and there are so many question marks around him, and if you read his life that he was asked to make repentance because of some of his beliefs and he was in prison, etc., etc., etc. Of course the other school, they make him a champion. Okay, that's normal, this is how every school view, okay? But for the majority of the Muslim Sunni schools, they have big question marks on him. And why would I follow someone like him? And I have an established school or schools, Shafi'i, Hanafi, Maliki, Hanbali. Why would I follow his, particularly in Aqeeda, things that he wrote and etc. So, Ibn Qayyim is his student, same exact thing applies. Same exact thing applies to him, because he's his main student. Anyway, so you should follow one of those 4 schools, okay? And many scholars, they wrote about that you should not follow other than those 4 schools. Why? They said because the opinions and the schools of the other mujtahidun, they were not recorded and taken care of and transmitted like authentically. You understand? Now, if the normal Muslim have to ask a sheikh that he trusts, so you go ask a sheikh that you trust, then that sheikh, he might give you from more than one school, but you cannot do this yourself because you will be following your own desires and your own ego. Okay? Now, as we have schools in fiqh or jurisprudence, we also have schools in Aqeeda, right? In the belief. And the main Sunni schools are the ashaa'ris and the maturidis. The ashaa'ris and the maturidis. The ashaa'ris in attribution to Imam Abu al-Hasan al-Ash'ari. Maturidis in attribution to Imam Abu Mansur al-Maturidi, may Allah be pleased with both of them. And some scholars, they add a 3rd school. They say those are the people of Hadith or the Atharis or Ahl al-Hadith. But in practice, I don't believe there is a 3rd school, because the Ash'aris and the Maturidis, they are themselves people of Hadith and people of Athar. Okay? And the Ash'ari school, it includes the opinion that they attribute to the Ahlul Hadith school. So the Ash'ari school, in many issues, they include 2 opinions. Okay? So the main schools of Ahl Sunnah and Aqeeda are Al-Ash'ari and Al-Maturidi school. This is why you find also in the books, they tell you so and so, Imam Ibn Asakir, for example, Al-Ash'ari, Al-Shafi'i. So they say his Aqeeda and they say his school, and that was not something that made division among the Muslims. No, that is something they're telling you what is their school. Just like you ask me, I say I studied in Damascus. Okay? I studied with this sheikh, so and so. So this is what they used to write in their books, so that on the title, as their part of their titles. A third thing that is used to be added sometimes, but not as common as the fiqh school, is the tariqah. The tariqah, which means the school, also school in the spiritual purification. In the spiritual purification, in tasawwuf, or the science of tasawwuf, which means the purification of the soul. So we have iman, which takes care of the belief. It talks about what? The belief, believing in Allah, and we have Islam, which is about what? Rituals, fiqh. And we have ihsan, right? We know the famous hadith of Sayyidina Jibreel that every Muslim should learn. But unfortunately, most Muslims and most schools, they teach you iman, pillars of iman, pillars of Islam, and they don't mention anything about ihsan, right? Even though they are mentioned in the same hadith. When Sayyidina Jibreel came and asked the Prophet ﷺ. So iman is aqeeda, Islam is about fiqh, ritual, salah, siyam, etc. Ihsan is what? To worship Allah as if you can see Him. As if you see Him. If you cannot see Him, know that He sees you. That's called ihsan. That's the excellence in worship. That's the spiritual side, if you like, of Islam. That is called tasawwuf. Some scholars, they call it tazkiyah. Some scholars, particularly the Shia, they call it irfan. We don't care about the name. The point is, just as we have schools in Aqeeda, and just as we have schools in fiqh, we also have schools in the spiritual purification. And those schools, they call them what? Tariqah. What do they call them? Tariqah. In the fiqh, they call them madhab. In the spiritual purification or tasawwuf, they call it tariqah. So they say that tariqah sufiyya, turuq sufiyya. Aqeeda, no, madhab. Or madrasa, they say, madrasa, school. Okay. In the tasawwuf or tariqah, we have many tariqahs. Just like there we have Ash'ari Maturidi, and in fiqh we have Shafi, Hanafi, Hanbali, Maliki. In tariqah we have Naqshbandi, Shadhuli, Qadiri, Sahrawardi, Jushti, Rifa'i, etc. Okay? And just like some scholars, they will introduce themselves with the Aqeeda school and the fiqh school, they also add the tasawwuf school. They were not like now, some people feel ashamed of these names, or they hide it and they're afraid to say it. Why? Because of the ignorance of some other Muslims who accuse them to be out of Islam. Or just like in one of the khutbahs just last week, I mentioned about Imam Ibn Ata'illah Secondary, that he was of the great tasawwuf scholars, and I explained that tasawwuf is to the science, one of the sciences of Islam that takes care of the soul and cleaning the heart and drawing you closer to Allah, etc. Then he came after the khutbah, he was about to slap me on the face. He's telling me, what do you mean by Sufis? What do you mean? These people, I know them in my country, they have a secret religion, they have their rituals, they hide, they have like... I said, did you hear what I said? He said, no. I said, then why you're asking me? Anyway, I explained to him, so just ignorance and impoliteness. He was about to slap me. Anyway, my point is, the scholars, they were following those schools just like they were following the other schools. For example, we have Imam Abu al-Hasan. They say Abu al-Hasan al-Shadhuli. Okay, we have Sayyidina Shaykh Abdul Qadir al-Jailani, for example. He was Hanbali. And he was Qadiri. And he was the founder of the Qadiri Tariqa. Okay? So they say so and so he's al-Ash'ari, al-Shafi'i, al-Naqshbandi. For example, Mulla, I'll give you an example. Mulla Ali al-Qari, al-Maturidi, al-Hanafi, al-Naqshbandi. Right? So Hanafi, Maturidi means what? Sister, Maturidi means what? This is his school in Aqeeda. Hanafi, this is his school in Fiqh. Naqshbandi, this is his school in Tariqa, in Tasawwuf. Clear? Clear? For example, I said for me, we are in Syria, we are Ash'aris and Shafi'is, and particularly we came from a Naqshbandi school. We're not proud, we're so proud of this school that we come from. And we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to keep us on this school until we meet Him. But this is how we studied and what we learned. Now, when in this century, in this day and age, because the people of the petrodollar school and the followers of Ibn Taymiyyah and those people, because they spread among Muslims that they are the people of truth. They are the saved group. Their belief is the belief of the Sahaba. Their fiqh is the fiqh of the Sahaba. They are the sole representative of the Sahaba, and everything else is deviant. And with the petrodollar and the oil money, they spread these ideas. So Muslims now they hear Sufi, these deviant people, right? Unfortunately, this is why our sheikhs taught us we don't say I am Sufi or I am this or I am this. No, I am Muslim. That's it. I am Muslim. And we don't need to now use these titles. Why? Just to save ourselves from this headache and not to reinforce this division that those people spread. Okay, but when they ask us, as if we are like we made a crime, and as if we are deviant, then we say it as we say in Arabic with a full mouth and with a lot of pride and gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then to our sheikhs that yes, we believe to these schools that Muslims in the whole world follow. Turkey, they're all Maturidis, Hanafis, Naqshbandi in their vast majority. Or let me say in millions. Hanafi, Maturidi, Hanafi, Naqshbandi. Afghanistan, Maturidi, Hanafi, many of them Naqshbandis and Jushtis and etc. Pakistan, India, Hanafi, Maturidi, many of them Qadri, Rifa'i, Jushti, Naqshbandi. I met people from different parts of the world. This is what they have. Indonesia, Malaysia, Sham, Syria, Jordan, Lebanon, Palestine, all of them. Tunisia, Algeria, Morocco, they're Malikis, Ash'aris. In their tariqah, most of them are Shadulis and Rifa'is, etc. Is this clear? So that is, inshallah, hopefully this will give you an idea so that you don't, as some Muslims, they consider those tariqas as like another religion or like deviant groups. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. So that by this we finish the first line. يقول راجي عفو رب سامعي محمد بن الجزري الشافعي. The one who is hoping or hopeful of the forgiveness of a responding Lord, Muhammad, son of Al-Jazari, who is Shafi'i in his fiqh school, says, what does he say? Alhamdulillahi wa sallallahu ala nabiyyihi wa mustafahu. That's second line. Inshallah, next time we will talk about the life of Imam Ibn al-Jazari and his writings. Then we go right away to the second line, inshallah. Any question about anything we covered today? I hope this Inshallah, explanation will serve you until the end of your life in these names and these titles, so that you, inshallah, you have the right idea. And that. Now, are there some Sufis or those people who are in tariqah, they do like crazy stuff? Yes.
Yeah.
Just like in the fiqh, we have some faqih who have crazy stuff. They tell you it's fine, you can sit with women and mix without any limits, that's fine, it's okay. Sisters here in this country, they don't have to cover their head, they don't have to have hijab, you know. For example, yani, in Aqeeda, some people, they claim to be Muslims, they tell you, you should not call others to Islam, because everyone believes he has the right religion. So Christians, they believe they are right. So it's not nice to call them to your deen, because they believe their deen is right. This is what Muslim is saying. Muslim. So in Aqeeda, there are people who are deviant, yes, but we don't say all people who study Aqeeda and they're deviant. And in fiqh, there are people who are deviant, but we don't say all faqih or fuqaha are crazy. And same thing in tariqah, we have people who make crazy stuff and they claim that this is part of tariqah, right? For example, some people, they get like these like swords and they put them in their body and they say this is tariqah. So this has nothing. So whether in aqeedah or in fiqh or in tariqah, these three, they all have to be under Quran and Sunnah. Just like Imam al-Junayd said radiyallahu anhu, that our tariqah is restricted and comes under the umbrella of the Quran and Sunnah. And anything that contradicts Quran and Sunnah, we throw it away. Full stop. Say that again.
I have confusion with this thing, that why do we think like this? These four schools of thought, like in these four schools of thought, why do we think like this? The majority of the people follow any one of them, and there are very rare people who are following any other imam than these four. So this thinking is, I thought like this thinking is not good. If I think like the majority of the people is following any one of them, so I should also do this one, rather than any other imam other than four scholars.
Why? Because those schools, they have all of the scholars of Islam, all of them, the major scholars, you will not find them except under one of those schools. So who's out of those schools? Give me one name. Give me a name of one scholar other than Ibn Taymiyyah and Ibn Qayyim. And still Ibn Taymiyyah and Ibn Qayyim, they are part of the Hanbali school, even though they brought new ideas. But all of the Muslim scholars, this Muslim heritage from the time of Sahaba until our time, all of them, they follow these schools, because these schools or those imams, who are they? Imam Shafi'i, when does he pass away? When did he pass away? 204 of the Hijrah. So those great imams, they learned from the students of Sahaba, and some of them met Sahaba. Like Imam Abu Hanifa, they say he met Sahaba. So who's better than those imams? Number one. Number two, all of the Muslim Ummah over the generations, from the time of those imams until this moment, all Muslims, they agree that those four imams are the greatest imams. All of them, they agree, they were so pious imams, so knowledgeable, so fearful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is why they follow them. Even people of this school that took a different route, their main sheikhs, they dare not say one word about those imams. Even Ibn Taymiyyah himself, he had a book. It says Raf'ul Malam an al-A'imma al-A'lam, removing any blame from the major imams, those four imams. Because even from his time, some people started like criticizing those imams. Okay, and he was one of them, but under the pretext that no, we follow the Quran and Sunnah. Those were great and righteous, but they were wrong in this. But we have to make this. Okay, if you're reach their level, it's up to you, you can follow. Okay, but for us, we believe that they are much more qualified than you. So we follow them, we don't follow you. Okay, so even those people, they agree that those were the imams, number one. Number two, we don't have another school whose rulings are recorded and whose rulings are taken care of by students, and it has foundations. It has to have, the school that you have to follow, it should have foundations, not every time you jump from one rule to another and you don't have foundations. You must have foundations. On those foundations, then you base your rules. So those schools, the scholars, they reviewed those opinions and they brought the proofs for them, and they have established. Is the camera still on?
Yeah.
So it is an established school. So how come you follow like an opinion of a scholar who doesn't have like a school or foundations, and you leave collective effort? This is, I think, that a good word too. This is a collective effort of a huge number of scholars over the centuries. How come you follow a person and you leave this collective efforts of a huge number of scholars?
So
You see that? You understand the point?
Yeah, I've got it, but I have one thing, that what if somebody takes some things from the one mazhab and other from the second mazhab and other from the third mazhab?
I mentioned this before. Yeah, just open this door so that they can see. I mentioned this before, but before I answer, this doesn't mean that we consider those schools or those imams as infallible. Can they make mistakes? Of course, maybe, but we are not qualified to recognize this is right or this is wrong. But they can be wrong, yes, but we follow them because they're qualified, and we are not qualified. Now, can we take from one school in this issue, in one school? You have to ask a trustworthy shaykh. You cannot do it by yourself. If you're gonna do it by yourself, then you will end up having a fifth madhab, which is your own madhab, which is based on what you like and what you desire, which will be at the end of the day your ego madhab. You have to ask a trustworthy scholar. Then a trustworthy scholar, he can get you an opinion from here or there, based on the proofs, based on your situation, but it's not you who should jump from here to there.
Okay, thank you.
Allahu a'lam. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi. So you're gonna do